We're getting some breaking news right now. Ulysses Villalobos is back in Burleigh County, and charges have been filed against him. According to online court records, Villalobos is facing charges of attempted murder and fleeing a peace officer. They stem from an officer-involved shooting last Thursday. Police say Villalobos tried to run over a Bismarck police officer with his car. The incident resulted in a 24-hour manhunt once Villalobos fled the scene. A 22-year-old woman was arrested today for crashing a stolen car. It happened just before 10 this morning in Bismarck on Bowen Avenue. Police say the woman fled on foot. A short time later, she was stopped near the Kirkwood Mall. Officers say she was taken to the hospital for injuries, then transported to Burleigh Morton Detention Center. Two other passengers involved in the crash, an 87-year-old man and an 84-year-old woman, were also treated for injuries. A Minot woman is in custody after crashing through a liquor store front on Tuesday. Police say 22-year-old Mariah Bryan was under the influence at the time of the crash, during which the store clerk was injured. Bryan later told investigators her friend was actually driving the car, but an officer says he overheard her on a phone call admitting to the wreck. She pleaded out to DUI charges and will be back in court in April on misdemeanor charges. Also in Minot, a former TJ Maxx employee was just sentenced for stealing roughly $8,700 from the register. Prosecutors say 27-year-old Brittany Haynes did so by an elaborate scheme of fraudulent returns. Haynes pleaded guilty yesterday to a felony theft charge. She will serve a year of supervised probation and repay the money along with court costs. The Tioga Police Department is reminding residents to take extra precautions after a series of break-ins. Since December, there have been 9 calls of break-ins. Thieves are targeting unlocked businesses and homes. Right now, there's still no arrests related to the break-ins, but police are urging residents to be alert and report any suspicious behavior.
We would much rather get the call and look into it and it be nothing rather than get the call later on that day and then it actually wound up being something.
New details surrounding the sexual assault allegations against upperclassmen at Richland 44 High School. Crime Bureau officials are now trying to determine if the student behavior is criminal. Superintendent Tim Godfrey says the alleged sexual abuse of 8th graders, boys committed by upperclassmen, happened in the locker room. The investigation likely will take another week to complete. A parking ramp in downtown Bismarck is in need of some pricey repairs. $1.3 million worth of fixes, to be exact. The Galleria parking ramp was built in the early 1980s. In 2014, crews shored up areas with notable deterioration. They say the ramp is still structurally sound. However, Municipal Parking Authority Chairman Jim Christensen says longer-term repairs can't be put off any longer. The Parking Authority will put the repair project to bid as early as April. In education news, since 2010, the number of North Dakota students on the autism spectrum has nearly doubled. Whether it's more prevalent or just easier to diagnose, having a child with autism can be a struggle for families. Now the school system is hoping for grant money to help accommodate children with unique learning styles. Cynthia McLaughlin reports.
We can't have a 4th grader sitting in the principal's office all day long because there's nowhere to put him.
The State Education Funding Committee announced they will be receiving an increase in funding for special education. And it's needed as the number of students diagnosed with autism is rapidly increasing.
If the child does have a disability, then the second question is, do they require specialized instruction to progress in the regular curriculum?
In 2010, only about 600 North Dakota students were diagnosed with autism. Now that number has nearly doubled.
Those numbers seem to be growing all of the time, and is it actual increases in special education needs, or is it because we're widening the definitions? You know, we need to have those conversations to find out what it is.
In 2011, the legislature decided to broaden the definition of autism.
And I would say the definition of autism and expanding it has a large impact on those numbers.
There's always a lag time between, changing a definition and actually identifying. It's like everything else. Once you pass something like whether it's legislation or regulation, there is a lag time where that needs to catch up.
The state will be granting $800,000 more in special education aid for 2017 to 2019 than the last biennial appropriation. This amounts to $19.3 million. For West Dakota Fox News at 9, I'm Cynthia McLaughlin.
Speaking of education, around the 4th grade, children start to learn how to play the recorder. However, countries with limited resources aren't able to offer those lessons to their students. But a Bismarck man and his 3 friends are hoping to change that. And they're doing so on the backs of motorcycles.
Most people played them in grade school, but out of the country, recorders aren't as available.
I think it's wonderful that kids are going to get to play music in a different country that probably doesn't even have music.
We just want to spread that type of music around the world. I mean, they're calling it, Jeanette Meyer's calling it music from the heartland.
Aside from recorders, the riders will be taking school supplies and yo-yos to more than 1,000 children at rural schools.
We're bringing things that we could pack in our suitcase that the school needs.
Staff at Jeanette Meyer say they think this is a great cause to be a part of.
Pushes our students out of their box a little bit. We do a lot of fundraising for here in Bismarck and local foundations, so kind of spreading it out to another country is something brand new for us.
Keller says he loves riding, but this is way beyond that. He just wants to help people.
They will arrive in Bismarck on February 16th. Keller says they will hold an assembly at the school to thank them for their donations and for the cards the students made. Well, Mandan has had both economic ups and downs in 2017. The average home price went up almost $2,000, and there was one more home sold than in 2016. But the number of new homes built was actually down 32%, which is good news on the sales tax side.
To be up in our sales tax collections is really good because over the last 3 quarters, I think, sales have been down. So for the year of 2017, by our sales tax collections being up by 2.5% is a real positive sign that there's some good things happening in Mandan.
Hotel tax collections were down, and New Buyer attributes that to lower room rates and slightly lower occupancy rates. A massive fire rips through a South Korean hospital, killing 37 and injuring dozens more. Flames broke out at the Miryang facility early this morning. So far, all of the dead were located in the hospital's general ward. The building did not have sprinklers, which the hospital director says are not required by law. In Toronto, Canada, the suspicious death of 2 billionaires has just been ruled a double homicide. The bodies of Barry and Honey Sherman were found inside their home on December 15th. They were found in seated positions, hanging by belts to a railing, but there was no sign of forced entry into the home. Investigators say there are a few suspects who could have motive. A violent armed robbery at a Los Angeles meat market caught on camera. 2 suspects wearing orange reflective safety vests entered the meat market and pointed guns at the victim. You can see them start to beat the man on the left side of your screen there. The suspects made off with cash from the register and a few of the victim's personal items. More violence caught on camera, this time at a college basketball game. The melee broke out after a game between Elizabeth City State and Virginia State. You can see some of the fans watching the brawl in total shock while others rushed to break up the commotion. The fight was so bad, authorities say some people could face criminal charges. Authorities had to shut down part of a roadway for a time after a train derailment in Missouri this morning. It happened in Bates County. Missouri State Highway Patrol reported on Twitter that 23 units jumped the track. Luckily, authorities say no one was injured. And hundreds gathered in Benton, Kentucky last night to pay tributes to the victims of Tuesday's high school shooting. 2 students at Marshall County High School died when a 15-year-old gunman opened fire. The unidentified suspect is in custody and facing 2 counts of murder and 12 counts of first-degree assault. Kentucky law stipulates that assault carries the same penalty as attempted murder. Attorneys for Bill Cosby are looking to have sexual assault charges against the comedian dismissed. Time magazine reports defense attorneys filed motions yesterday alleging misconduct by prosecutors and lack of evidence. Cosby is scheduled to be retried in April for aggravated indecent assault. Dozens of women have come forward saying Cosby drugged and assaulted them. The nationwide opioid fight is affecting police dogs now. Oftentimes, law enforcement will have to administer Narcan on officers who have come in contact with fentanyl. That now includes canine officers, for whom even small doses of opioid drugs can be deadly. In travel news, if you plan on taking a trip this year, you may have a little more room on your flight. United Airlines announcing this week that they're increasing capacity by 4 to 6%. That means more flights and potentially more unsold seats. And you might want to book somewhere tropical after Kevin Lawrence's weather report.
I think that's good advice right there, Molly.
Welcome back. Boutique 23 just opened up on Main and Bismarck, and the Fringe Spatique is the new full-service nail salon and boutique on Thayer Avenue in Bismarck. Maddie Gelseth takes a look in this week's Mainstream Minute. Welcome back. Well, the Super Bowl is inching closer, and the Twin Cities are ramping up efforts to get everything built in time. Special outdoor events began today around the city. One of the attractions is a 750-foot zip line. Brave participants can strap in and ride across the river. Here's a zoomed-out look of how they built the zip line. Once you sail across the river, the zip line leaves you in the heart of downtown. Kickoff for the Super Bowl is Sunday, February 4th on our sister station, KFYR-TV. Well, in dumb trend news, the number of teens eating Tide Pods is skyrocketing. The American Association for Poison Control Centers reports 39 cases of teens being exposed to detergent Tide Pods in 2016 and 53 in 2017. This month alone, there have been 86 cases. The agency sent out a warning that the intentional exposures continue to rise. Amazon has disabled comments from users who wrote that the detergent capsules were, quote, delicious. YouTube also vowed to take down any Tide Pod challenge videos. Well, mass hysteria today in France. Reports of fights breaking out in supermarkets have been coming in all day, all because Nutella is on sale. The chocolate and hazelnut spread was discounted 70%, bringing down the price from $6 to just under $2. Shoppers shoved each other to get their hands in the jar, and sometimes things got a little bit violent. But you know, Kevin, they say you got to fight for what you love.
I guess, but is it worth it? I mean, really?
Have you ever had Nutella?
Yeah, but I mean, I'm willing to work harder to save up for it, I think.
That's where you and I differ.
Maybe so. I don't know. Brawl in the back, right? All right, and here we are with our weather right now. Temperatures coldest across the north, Minot at 1628 in Bismarck. For the weekend, chances for some light snow. Not a lot, but look for highs mainly in the teens, but that pesky northwest wind keeping wind chills below zero. And again, the 7-day, one glimmer of hope. There it is, Molly. See it? Center your screen Tuesday.
See it.
Everything else around it? Yeah.
All right, we'll be counting down to Tuesday. Have a great weekend.